Israel is under attack. The Holy Land prophesied in the Bible that the very nations that hate Israel would attack Israel. And Iran, of course, is number one. Well, the proxy wars using Hezbollah, using the Houthis out of Yemen, Hezbollah out of southern Lebanon, using Hamas and Islamic Jihad out of the Gaza Strip, using the Lion's Den and whoever else they got over there in the West Bank, using the Syrian army and camping out, the Russians and Iranians camping out in Damascus, and all the other nations that have condemned Israel, including in the United Nations on the General Assembly on the floor, and everybody that's got something to say against Jewish people. The Bible said that Israel would come under attack. God said in Zechariah chapter 2, don't touch the apple of his eye. And the pupil of his eye is Israel. Israel is his chosen people. He made a covenant with the children of Israel, an everlasting covenant, and with the land. And the Bible says that Israel will be attacked. Zechariah chapter 12 said that Jerusalem will become this cup of trembling for all people. All that burden themselves with it, though, will be broken into pieces. The Bible tells us in Zechariah 14 that Israel will come under another attack where half the city of Jerusalem will look like it has fallen. We read about Ezekiel 38, the battle of Gog and Magog, and it names the nations and others that will be attacking. So here we are tonight. There's massive cruise missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, drones, and other types of attacks coming at Israel from several different directions by the Iranians and Hezbollah, who had originally fired about 200 rockets out of southern Lebanon, but now Iran has fired over 200 cruise missiles, and over 200 to 300 drones, and several IC intercontinental ballistic missiles and hypersonic missiles. All of this involved right now. Meanwhile, the United States Air Force has been shooting down some of those missiles and drones. So has the United Kingdom Air Force shooting down missiles and drones. So has the Jordanian Air Force shooting down missiles and drones. But some of them have got through. There was a 10-year-old little girl that really got hurt bad, right, Heidi? A 10-year-old little boy and a 7-year-old little girl. I think they're Bedouins even. So but it must be parts of rockets that have been exploded in the air and been shot down, maybe parts of those falling down on the out into the wilderness where the Bedouins are. I know there's 31 Israelis that have been injured. Most of that because they're trying to get into their bomb shelters. And a lot of them got hurt. There's some serious panic attacks and anxiety attacks, and there's all kinds of stuff like that. But for the most part, none of the Iranians at this point, missiles actually have hit an Israeli. I don't think so. Maybe not now, or we may get reports later. But certainly, it's been a barrage. It's been an unbelievable attack. And thank God that people have been involved. Now, I have a live update just now coming in. One of our good brothers, I wish I could play the video for you. If I can figure out a way to upload it, I will. And I'm not going to give you his name because I do not want to give his name away for his safety and security. But he lives there in Jerusalem, and he did send us some incredible footage of missiles and explosions overhead in Jerusalem. I am reading also, and if I can do that, I will post that video after I get off the air here live with you tonight. But there's been explosions seen over parts of Jerusalem that a direct and appropriate Israeli response against Iran. Joe Biden has been on the phone. Go back to Washington. He left his Delaware home the brink of World War III if we're not careful. What the Russians are doing right now, what the Chinese are doing right now, keep an eye on what North Korea is doing right now. Great Britain and the Jordanians really jumping in with those F-35 fighter jets and actually taking out some of these cruise missiles and ballistic missiles and drones. Remarkable. Iran said that after tonight's attack, the matter can be deemed concluded unless there's more violence. Might be Iran's thought, but that's not Israel's thought. Israel's already said they will respond. And believe me, they will respond harder than Iran is going to want to accept. And then Iran's going to cry foul and say this was the response was not proportionate. And they'll be running to the, United Nations crying again. But I can tell you now, Israel has contacted, Heidi, am I right? Has called for an emergency meeting with the UN Security Council. Am I right? They've called for that meeting. They're asking, I just read, they're asking for this meeting. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. Now, 31 people have been treated for anxiety or injuries they've sustained while trying to get into their bomb shelters for the most part. So we got this, and there's very visible explosions, very visible in the air over Jerusalem, and sirens going off. And so I will try to play that video for you when I'm done. So stay to this YouTube channel. Now, there is a concern among top U.S. officials that Israel could do something quickly in response to Iran's attacks without thinking through the potential fallout. Can I say something? Do you think Israel's idiots? Well, you think Netanyahu hasn't thought all of these out? You don't think the IDF generals haven't considered all of the problems and options and all the hatred they're getting from every direction? They're not going to do anything knee-jerk. They don't do stuff like that. This is a well-oiled machine over there. These guys, the IDF, are unbelievable. Actually, on the thumbnail on this video, you'll see me and Heidi standing in Israel. Actually, we're in the picture. I believe we're in Tel Aviv. Yes, we're in Tel Aviv, and behind us is the beautiful scenery of the Mediterranean. And I'm wearing an IDF hat. An IDF hat. I'm actually wearing it in the picture, okay? So it's in the thumbnail of this video. And Heidi's looking very beautiful in that, I must say. But anyway, these concerns stem in part, they say, from the administration, the Biden administration's view of the approach Israel has taken to its war against Hamas, as well as its attack in Damascus. So the concern that Joe Biden has privately is expressed concern that Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to drag the United States more deeply into a broader conflict, according to 3 people familiar with this. That's insanity. That's insanity. Hey, do you believe that Netanyahu wants to drag America into a broader war? Who started this whole thing? Hamas. Who's fired rockets at Israel today? 200 of them from southern Lebanon. Hezbollah. Who came in on October 7th and butchered the Israeli people? Hamas and the Islamic Jihad. And who fired on Israel tonight? Iran. And who's been shooting missiles at cargo ships and oil tankers in the Mediterranean, in the Red Sea, around the Straits of Oman? The Houthi rebels who are funded by Iran. So to say you're concerned on the reaction by Netanyahu because you don't like the way he's dealt with Hamas in Damascus, I mean, You don't like the way he's dealt with Hamas in Gaza. And you don't like the fact that he took out the 3 top Iranian generals and the 4 next in line top officials. He took out 7 of the high brass in Damascus. That somehow Israel is not conducting a war appropriately, and they're trying to drag the U.S. in. Now the Iranians have fired back. Israel's not trying to drag anybody into this war. Israel's trying to put the foot on the throat of their enemy and finish them off. And you would too. You would too. You would want that if you, here in America, had what happened to Israel on October 7th had happened to this nation, you would want a response much greater than what Israel's doing. So again, these journalists over at MSNBC and some of these mainstream media outlets are just pitifully worthless. They're also using the term Iran strikes Israel with a retaliatory response. So you have to throw in the word retaliatory because you want to blame Israel. It's Israel's fault. Instead of Iran, how much terrorist activity was Iran going to perform? How many proxies were they going to use? How long was that going to go on before Israel finally said, we got to cut off the head of the snake? President Joe Biden privately expressed concern, though. Now, while the White House believes that Israelis are not looking for a wider war, then why are you worried about it? Or a direct war with Iran, particularly given the resources they have fighting the war in Gaza, U.S. officials can't be certain, the senior administration said. Really? U.S. officials have privately expressed frustration with Israel's decision to strike the Iranian consulate building in Syria on April 1st, saying Israeli leaders did not think through the timing and the implications of the attack, including how it might affect negotiations of the release of the hostage by Hamas. I don't think they had a strategy, said one senior U.S. administration official. The Israelis don't always make the best strategic decisions. Senior leaders at the Pentagon has also privately expressed frustration in the timing of the Damascus strike, according to senior defense official, because there's never a good time. As far as the U.S. Pentagon and the Biden administration is concerned, there would never be a good time for Israel to stand up for itself against Iran. Never. So what you got to do is put your boot on the throat of your enemy. And you must. We're not playing. This isn't the bully in the playground. This is a war. And people have been horrifically murdered. Now, what does the Bible say about all of this? And you just heard my rant of frustration over the lack of, the pathetic reporting by the mainstream media and the hypocritical response by some in the administration. Let me just say this. The Bible said this was going to happen. It has begun. Remember when I told you that this was Psalms 83? It is in play. It is in play. It has begun. The question is, does it roll into Ezekiel 38? And that's the question I asked Chuck Missler in October of 2015, just several months before he died. And the only time I had an hour to interview Chuck Missler. And I asked him, what is the next milestone prophecy event? And his answer was Psalms 83 or Ezekiel 38, whichever comes first. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's the chicken or the egg. If Ezekiel 38 happens, it will, of course, include Psalms 83. If Psalms 83 happens first, it will bring on Ezekiel 38. And this is where we're at, folks. Prophecy is being fulfilled right before your very eyes. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to see if I can post a video I received from Jerusalem tonight. If I can, I will. And if I can't, I won't. But I do have this private footage. I will not release the name of the individual who sent it to me. But I think it's a powerful, powerful video. Pray for peace. We're living in the last days. Don't miss tomorrow night's Sunday Night Live broadcast. It will be prophetic. There's no question. We'll have a better understanding of where we're at. And it may be that this world will have changed. It may have just changed. Not only am I concerned about Ezekiel 38, Gog and Magog war, I'm concerned about World War III, the Sixth Trumpet War, because the book Revelation 9:11, God spoke to me and said, it's about to happen. It's upon mankind. Revelation 9:11. Write it down. Give the warning. So we did. The book just came out 3 weeks ago. In it, we talk about Iran conflict with Israel. We predicted it before it happened. And so, because it's in the Bible, okay? So that's why we can do that. We can prophesy stuff because it's in the Bible. It's already been spoken. So now I know why I couldn't get that book out sooner than I wanted, because God didn't want it released a year ago. He wanted it released now for such a time as this, so that people would start searching for answers. And certainly Revelation 9:11, my co-author Troy Anderson and I did our very best to bring to you what's going on right now and what's going to take place next. It's in the book, and it's based on biblical scripture and also great research of prophetic events, and not just that, but tremendous research in many different categories. So you want to check that out. I'll see you guys. God bless all of you. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Yeah. And yes, this video was also, I forgot to mention, PastorPaulGold.com, but certainly you want to do that. Always know there's a risk in any kind of financial investment you may do, but the good people at Noble Gold are very good at working with you in your financial situation. Look at your 401k, look at your IRA, ask yourself a question. Let Noble Gold help you understand. Should you diversify with some gold and silver? Gold is a biblical currency, and it always will be. So find out about it. Call them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347. And tell them that Pastor Paul Begley sent you. God bless all of you. Give your life to Jesus Christ. He's coming. He's coming soon.